Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this session. My name is Rafael Vicente. I'm a product manager here at Cisco. And today I would like to talk with you about how can you build your IoT applications for Cisco access points. Before we jump into the presentation, I'd like to give you a quick introduction about myself. I am from São Paulo, Brazil, and I've been working my whole career in technology. So I used to work at Oracle in Brazil as a sales account manager. Then in 2017, I decided to move to the US to do my MBA at UCLA. I graduated last year and I started working at Cisco right after that, and started working here in the PM organization as a product manager in the wireless team. And today in the wireless team, I'm responsible for this program, which is application hosting for access point. So I'm gonna talk you over the presentation how that works and what is exciting about it. So let's start. This is our agenda for today. I'm gonna explain a little bit what is the motivation to make access point as IoT gateways. I'm gonna give you guys an example about our use cases and the problem statement, and give some instructions how can you get started in a demonstration, and the next steps and resources that you can look for so you can achieve the use case that you guys have in mind. So Cisco, as you know, Cisco is a networking company. It has been developing access points for a long time. And for all those years, the main goal of access point it is to provide wireless access to the internet using Wi-Fi. You can and devices like regular devices like mobile computers, you can have access to the internet through the access point. But that situation is changing. So today we have the proliferation of IoT devices, all kind of different IoT devices, and most of the times those devices do not speak Wi-Fi. They use different type of protocols, and those protocols, there are many different protocols out there. So just to give you guys a few examples, we have Zigbee, which is mostly used for smart lights or thermostats. We also have Bluetooth. Some examples are tags for people tracking, wayfinding, or even the headphones that you use at your home on a day-to-day basis. And we also have Z-Wave, which is mostly common for home automation. I'm just nominating three examples over here, but there are many more out there. So the goal of this project is to extend the capability of Cisco access points and to give the access point the ability to talk one of those IoT protocols with your own applications. And why our access points can do that? Basically because of this feature over here. Our access points are capable to run Docker applications. And Docker applications are open source development framework where you can develop your own app to run on our access points and make it the access point compatible with the use case that you have in mind. Let me give you one example that hopefully is going to make things a little bit more clear. Let's go. So this is our use case in the problem statement, right? We gave you this example, smart garbage sensor to warn that the garbage is full using LoRa protocol. So let's break down how this problem, this use case could be solved using Cisco access point. First, here to the left, you would need an access point, but the access point by default cannot talk LoRa protocol. So we would need to extend the access point to be able to talk LoRa. So in order to do that, you would need like a LoRa USB gateway. And that would give the ability to the access point to talk with any other sensor. But there is a need for a software to do that. What is the business logic? What is the gateway and the sensor are supposed to do in this communication. That's where the Docker application comes in, and that's the main goal of the project, to build your Docker application using and Docker and in Docker you can use any type of programming language in C, in Python, anything that you are most comfortable with to build this business logic between the gateway and the sensor. So, in a summary, access point with a LoRa USB gateway is going to give, and your application is going to give the access point the ability to communicate with this LoRa sensor, and you would be able to resolve this use case. So let's go through an example. In this example, my goal is to create a Z-Wave gateway. And as I mentioned before, Z-Wave is a very common IoT protocol for home automation. In this example, what you're going to need is some software and hardware. And the piece of software, you don't need to use a Cisco access point. What you can use instead is a Raspberry Pi, because then you're going to build your own Docker image, run on the Raspberry Pi, and the same Docker image you can use later into your Cisco access point to test it. So Raspberry Pi, and also what I'm going to use, it's a Z-Wave stick from IoT. This Z-Wave is going to give the ability to my Raspberry Pi to talk with the Z-Wave devices. Same thing with the access point. Access points are not do not have the Z-Wave ability by default, so we're going to plug this Z-Wave stick to give the access point this ability. Second comes the software, and then is where you're going to be developing. And what I'm going to show here, I'm going to use Home Assistant, which is open source automation tool. I'm going to create a Docker image and start having my Z-Wave gateway working. So there are six steps basically in this example. I gave you guys the source here. If you look, that is not even a Cisco website. There are many examples over the internet on how to build gateways using Docker and Raspberry Pi. So I advise you to explore that. So in this one, what I'm going to show is how to install the Docker on Raspberry Pi, recognize the Z-Wave stick in the in Raspberry Pi, create your Home Assistant image with this stick, also the configuration files with network keys, and then restart Home Assistant and show you that the gateway is going to be ready to use. So let's take a look at the demonstration. So let's go over the demonstration. Here you can see I'm connected to my Raspberry Pi, and you can see my console. And the first thing that we want to do is to make sure that our Raspberry Pi identifies the Z-Stick USB gateway that we have over there. So we run this command. It shows me that it can read it. And the second part is we don't wanna use this like hard name over here for our USB. So I created, this is like more detailed in the tutorial, but I created this file called 99 aotech-z-wave.rules that's gonna create a new SIM link to my USB stick. So from now on, I can call it Z-Wave. After that, I'm gonna show how we can recognize if that worked or not. But let's move on with, okay, we identified that the USB is working. So the second part is to create the Docker image using Home Assistant. So I don't want to include, just want to show you how to create this. The command is right over here. I have Docker already. So what we are gonna do is like get Home Assistant up and running. So let's see how that goes. Okay, it created. If Home Assistant is running, I'm gonna need my Raspberry Pi IP with the port 8123. I created an account before, so it's gonna have my information already. So this is how Home Assistant look like. You would be able to add devices to Home Assistant, but our goal here is to include Z-Wave in Home Assistant. As now we cannot identify any Z-Wave devices because we don't have the ability yet to have a Z-Wave gateway. So now in the second part, I'm going to show how can we include Z-Wave gateway in Home Assistant. Now I will start Home Assistant again, but with a difference. Now I'm gonna say to Home Assistant that I need to add to the container the Z-Wave device. So I add from the different thing from the our other container is that I'm adding this line to add my Z-Wave sticks. So I'm gonna start running it. So it's gonna be loading Home Assistant right now. And one thing that it happens when you create a Home Assistant, it's gonna create on the path that you assign, it's gonna create some configurations files, logs, and everything. So what we need to do is add to the configuration file for this use case. Let them know that we are using Z-Wave, extending it to use Z-Wave by adding a USB path with dev slash Z-Wave and also a network key. For the network key, I created a random key that is more instructions that on the Home Assistant documentation and also the tutorial that I gave to you. So with this network key, we can onboard devices securely. So let me go back and check if Home Assistant is now up. So same thing, I need to access Home Assistant directly, put my username. And here we go. So the difference with this container is now that we have a Z-Wave. It recognizes the Z-Wave stick. It says me that it's over here and it's ready to run. So we just need to turn it up and it's going to start running. So the next step would be to add Z-Wave devices. So now my Raspberry Pi is ready to be a Z-Wave gateway with this stick. If I had like any Z-Wave devices here with me, I could add those devices and start pairing and communicating with my Raspberry Pi and defining some use cases.
So now let's review what are the next steps for you to create your own IoT gateway for the access point. First, I advise you to start thinking about what is the IoT problem that you're trying to solve. So is it a home automation problem? Is it a smart garbage like we mentioned before? What we are really trying to solve? What are the devices, the connections that you're thinking? What are the benefits to the end user to have this problem solved? Then you can think about what is the appropriate IoT protocol for use case. In some cases, this is going to be very obvious because the industry is moving in one direction and everybody's using that sensor, that protocol for that specific use case that you're thinking about. And maybe many times you're going to have a lot of options. So try to think about what are the benefits of using one option like LoRa, like Z-Wave, instead of using another type of IoT gateway. So try to do some research and understand how do they use, what are the benefits of each one, and how they come together in the end to resolve the business case that you fought before, the problem that you fought before. Next step is going to be what's the hardware that you're going to need. Probably you're going to need a Raspberry Pi for sure, like to do the prototype. And then you have to extend the Raspberry Pi with some kind of USB dongle gateway, because probably that is not going to be there. So what kind of dongle do you need? What are the options available? Are you going to do LoRa? There are some different companies that manufacture them. So how can you extend and give Raspberry Pi the ability to provide you the gateway? And also depending on what are you building, are you going to need a sensor? Are you going to need any devices? So what kind of sensor are you going to need to accomplish that use case? Then comes, I believe, the fun part, starting developing your own application. Now, it's the logic, it's coding and creating your app, testing it out, and creating a Docker image and see if that runs on the Raspberry Pi. And then in the last end, you're gonna start thinking about how to run that on Cisco access point. But this is in the very end of your prototype, so you don't have to think that much about it now. Have your prototype done with Docker, have it running, and then you can think about like how to convert this Docker image to a Cisco IOX app. This is the only proprietary part of that. You have to go to the Cisco documentation, but this is a two-step process, super simple. So some of the resources that I used to build this presentation for you: Docker development. I'm sure that many of you are already aware of how to develop using Docker, but here's the link for the documentation. Here is the tutorial that I decided to show you. All the details are there, how to go over every specific function that I used there. There are many other, as I mentioned before, on the internet. You can start looking what people are doing with Raspberry Pi, what kind of fun stuff, protocols you can use. So you can have a few more examples. And here's what I mentioned before about converting Cisco IOX Docker app to Cisco IOX. Explore a little bit about those links after you have a prototype running, so you can see how you can do that, but that's it for later. Well, that's all that I had for today. Hope that was useful to you, and I'm excited to see what ideas do you have on our Cisco access points. Thank you.